here at the London Design Summit. Richard, welcome to you. We're here to talk about the Chiswick Eco Lodge. What is the Chiswick Eco Lodge?
The Eco Lodge is a house which was designed for a music producer, and it was in the back of his garden, effectively. His kids had grown up, and him and his partner wanted to have a smaller house which was more manageable and which was sustainable. And they would sell the main house and move into the smaller house because they really loved the area. So it was a project that was born out of initial discussion, and there wasn't a great deal of money for it. And it's taken about 7 years. So it's a long process, and a lot of that was fraught within the planning process. What it is a house which is designed to Passivhaus principles, which means that it only uses 15 kilowatts of energy per metre squared. So all the glazing is triple glazed, south-facing. It has mechanical ventilation, heat recovery, and the idea behind it is that it uses very little energy, and it's incredibly sustainable. It's a principle which is developed in Germany, the Passivhaus principle, and it's something that I'm a great believer in, and we've built now 3 certified passive houses. We've got about 5 or 6 more in the practice.
So this is a pet project for you. The principles are very important and core to your business, of course, what it is that you do, but you need to have a client who's willing or who wants to adopt this as well. So tell me a bit about how that relationship works.
It's a little bit subversive because they give me a little bit of inkling, well, we want to do something sustainable, and I sell them the whole hog. I go down the whole route, basically. So we've done a few of that nature, and I'm a great believer in this. So therefore, we try to erode away what it is they want. It's not about designing solar panels or wind generators. It's about actually designing a building with those principles. Whether it's a new build or whether it's not a new build, there's also a system called Enerfit, which is used a lot for existing buildings, which we're also adopting at the moment within the practice.
So within these sustainability principles, what is it that they are required to do or asked to do because of the design to change how they live, I suppose?
One of the big myths is whether you can open windows in a passive house. And everyone thinks, oh, you can't open windows because then you're not recirculating the air. And that's a myth. It's not the case. There aren't any other principles. It's just like a normal house.
So they don't have to do anything differently?
No, they don't have to do anything differently. One of the main issue, I suppose, is when we build it, when we design it. It has to be incredibly well insulated. It has to be airtight. And that's one of the difficulty is making sure that contractors can build to that standard. And that's the hardest thing. And you have to effectively have workshops with the contractors in your studios and show them how to build things, because it's relearning the building process effectively. I suppose the main issue behind it is the fact that it's about cleanliness on site. So it's like building an aircraft rather than building a house. So the sites have to be reasonably clean. You have to do pressure testing on the house at least 3 or 4 times throughout the process. And then when the building's finished, it works.
So, which is great. So it's like a machine, essentially.
It's a machine,
yeah. Okay. So to get this type of building practice, this sustainable building practice, I know it takes a particular type of client who's willing to adopt it and embrace it. Will it extend beyond? Will people see this? How does it impact on the rest of a suburb or a community, I suppose?
Well, this was one of the problems here. Chiswick is quite a posh area in London, Edwardian Street, and this was where the difficulty lay in this particular project, because even though it was a derelict bit of land with a garage at the back, a lot of people were afraid to have some modernity in the street. We designed it in such a way that it would blend into the landscape. The biggest criteria here was that to create the bedroom space, we went underground. So it's below ground level.
It's like a little cave.
It's a little bit of a cave, and to create the space was very... it was quite hard, and one of the things we discovered in the process was that it was on the Thames riverbed shales, so it was how we had to dig out and so forth. It was complex, yes.
Right. But it's different too. So most people have, yeah, as you said, Edwardian houses.
Edwardian houses, yes. So
straight up, you know.
So to answer your question, really, the difficulty was in the planning process, where around 50 people tried to lynch me at the end of the planning process. That was quite hard. But we did have consultation. We hid the top part of the building by using a living wall. The ground floor is built in the local materials, in the London stock brick. But internally, it's quite a heavy concrete building, and we express that by having the concrete the shuttering expressing the wood and so forth from shuttering.
So it's what you're trying to say here is, although it's sustainable, it also has to look good. It has to achieve great goals here.
Very much so. Yeah. That's one of the things. One of the problems when I studied architecture a few years ago, some 25, 30 years ago, a lot of sustainability. I was very into sustainability at the time, and everything was done with sticks and stones and sort of hay bales and so forth. Going to sort of North Wales and on Snowdon or something, that I found quite awkward, and I thought, why can't you do a sustainable building with modernity? And that's really one of the key factors that drive the practice.
There'll be more of these houses across London. I can see it, I can feel it, I can breathe it.
There's more in London, there's definitely some in Australia, and there's definitely some in New Zealand, because the guys who work with me are usually from from there.
Yeah, well, actually in Australia you've got to open the windows, so anyway.
But it works in that level as well, because it can also offer cooling.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. Thank you so much, Richard. Great to speak with you.
Thank you.